Today we're going to take a trip down memory lane and revisit an all-time classic movie that's sure to leave you feeling warm and fuzzy inside. Get ready to be swept away by the timeless tale of a young boy who had it all, but still yearned for something more. Friendship. That's right. We're talking about the beloved film Richie Rich. Hello and welcome to I Am Movies. As the opening scenes of the movie unfold, we are introduced to the young and charming Richie Rich Jr., the world's wealthiest kid, born into an incredibly wealthy family. His father, Richard Rich Sr., is a billionaire businessman and philanthropist, and Richie has everything his heart desires. However, despite his luxurious lifestyle, Richie's passion for baseball is something that sets him apart from the rest of his family. He spends hours practicing and perfecting his skills in the sport within the confines of his home. As he grows older, Richie's talent for baseball only continues to flourish, making him a standout player. But despite his wealth and success, Richie is lonely and lacks friends his age. This becomes apparent when he attends a dedication ceremony for United Tool, a factory recently acquired by his family. Here, Richie spots a group of Sandlot kids playing baseball and longs to join in and make new friends. Unfortunately, the strict head of security, Ferguson, intervenes and pulls Richie away, leaving him feeling isolated and alone once again. However, his loyal butler, Herbert Cadbury, acts as a father figure and scolds Ferguson for his actions. The Rich family is known for their immense wealth, and there's a mountain on their property called the Vault, which is rumored to hold their family's treasure. Richie and his family have made a sculpture of themselves that is placed on the mountain, further solidifying their legacy. One night, Lawrence Van Doe, the CFO of Rich Industries, visits the family for dinner. He is arrogant and dismissive of Richie's father's plans to modernize the factory and give it away to the workers. Richie is not fond of Lawrence, and neither is his mother. During dinner, Professor Keene, Richie's scientist, presents one of his latest inventions, the smelling tool. Richie is impressed and fascinated by the machine, but Lawrence is unimpressed and considers it a waste of money. Richard may be a busy man, but his relationship with his son, Richie, remains intact. Despite his hectic schedule, Richard always finds time to keep in touch with his little boy and spend quality time with him. He's so dedicated to being a good father that he's even invested in a groundbreaking invention called the Dad Link, which allows Richie to talk to his dad no matter where he is in the world. But as much as Richie loves spending time with his dad, he's also desperate for some friends his age. He longs to invite his classmates over for a weekend of fun, but they always seem to have other plans. That's when Richie decides to take matters into his own hands and seek out some new friends. One day, on the way home from school, Richie convinces his driver to take a detour to a nearby field where he met some kids earlier that day. He challenges them to a game of baseball, and despite their initial skepticism, they soon realize that Richie is a natural. They're impressed, but not enough to accept his invitation to hang out at his house for the weekend. Richie is heartbroken. As they make their way home, Cadbury drops a bombshell on Richie. His parents are off to London for a grand dinner with the Queen, but Richie's mind is set on something else entirely, and the prospect of hobnobbing with royalty fails to stir his interest. But fate has a funny way of intervening, and when the family is all set to take off to England, Cadbury has a sudden stroke of genius. He proposes a weekend of pure, unadulterated fun for Richie, a chance to stay back in Chicago with the Sandlot kids and let loose. What ensues is a weekend filled with adventure, laughter, and unexpected connections. Richie soon finds himself at the center of a group of newfound friends, with the vivacious Gloria Pazinski stealing his heart. Meanwhile, Cadbury falls for Gloria's mother, Diane, and the kids are charmed by Richie's playful spirit and boundless creativity. Sure, it all started with a bribe of $100 to entice the Sandlot kids to hang out with Richie. But as the weekend unfolds, genuine bonds are forged, and the magic of friendship takes hold. Meanwhile, Lawrence is planning to steal the Rich financial fortune, believed to be stored in the Rich family vault. Van Doe, with the help of Ferguson, plots to blow up the plane carrying the Rich family to England. During the plane trip to England, Richie, who plans to eat chocolate, tried to search the pile of gifts for one. With help from the smelling machine, he scans the items, but instead of chocolate, he spots a wrapped item the machine identifies as TNT. Not knowing exactly what that is, they unwrap the item to discover the bomb which is just about to go off. Richard is able to toss it out his window, but it detonates, destroying a part of the tail and sending billion-dollar one into the Atlantic Ocean. Now news begins to fly that Richard and Regina are both dead. Richie tries in vain to reach them via Dadlink. The plane was not found. Everyone believes they are dead, but Richie had a strong faith that his parents are alive. Believing that Richie's parents are dead, Van Doe assumes leadership of the Rich Corporation and proceeds to cut the many charitable contributions the Rich family was known for. This includes closing the freshly reopened United Tool plant which was the primary source of income for the parents of the Sandlot children. Well, Van Doe assumed Richie was also on the plane, but was shocked to know that he wasn't. Well, what can a little boy do to oppose his authority? He told himself as he rocks Richard's office, which he sees as his now. Meanwhile, Gloria contacts Richie about the factory close-up. Richie, encouraged by Cadbury, proceeds to the company headquarters and, as a living rich family member, assumes the leadership position. Van Doe, however, views this as a small setback because Richie's capacity to operate the company is restricted by the authority granted to him by someone who was able to do so, notably Cadbury, because Richie is still a minor. With Richie in charge, things take a unique turn at the factory. Richie gives the workers freedom, much to the annoyance of Van Doe. Unknown to everyone, Richie Sr. and Regina survive the crash and float on a life raft in the ocean. They hope that Richie will locate them. They knew who could have planned the explosion and wonder if Richie is safe. Well, Regina told her husband he ought to have sacked Van Doe, but because of Richard's policy of not sacking anyone, he had kept him. Back to Van Doe, he plans a new plot again. He had to get Cadbury out of the way and gets Cadbury framed for the Rich family's apparent murder, and the Rich family's other loyal servants are all fired en masse by Van Doe's edict. He locks Richie in the house, installing cameras all over the place. Van Doe plans to murder Cadbury in prison and have it appear as a suicide. By listening in on their communication, Professor Keenbean is able to smuggle Richie out and carry out a successful plan to assist Cadbury in escaping from prison. The two then travel to Gloria's home, where Richie uses Gloria's computer to break into the Dadlink mainframe at Richie's mansion, while Diane takes care of Cadbury. Van Doe learns about Cadbury's escape during this time and confronts Keenbean with Ferguson's assistance. They bind the professor and threaten him with the molecular reorganizer, which is his creation. According to Keenbean, only Richard and Regina have the vocal commands necessary to unlock the voice-activated lock on the Rich family vault. While everything is going on, Van Doe is still ignorant of their ongoing survival. Since Richie's modem was connected to the phone line, Ferguson intercepted Richard's attempt to send a distress signal after the collision destroyed his Dadlink transceiver. Ferguson then told Van Doe that Richard and Regina were still alive. After rescuing Keenbean from captivity, the kids and Diane managed to sneak both Richie and Cadbury back into Rich Manor, only to discover that the Dadlink shows that Richie's parents are inside Rich Manor. He is astonished to learn that Van Doe had planned for his parents' rescue and anticipated his arrival. Richie and his pals are taken to the molecular reorganizer by Ferguson and his accomplice, while Van Doe holds the Rich family elders at gunpoint and commands them to reveal the location of the Rich vault. Once inside the lab, Keenbean uses a sticky substance to subdue both Ferguson and his partner, but he gets stuck himself. Ingeniously, he decides to use a remote control to activate a robotic bee he built to sting Ferguson, which causes him to crash into the machine's emergency off button and saves Richie and the others. Van Doe embarks on a tumultuous journey, his frustration mounting with each step until he finally arrives at the majestic Mount Richmore. To his dismay, the vault he seeks contains not riches, but rather the Rich family's cherished memories and treasured heirlooms. Monetarily worthless, they hold no value in Van Doe's eyes. It is then that he discovers the true nature of the Rich family's wealth. It resides not in material possessions, but in the realms of banks, stock markets, real estate, and insurance companies. Their indifference to money leaves him desperate and enraged. In his desperation, Van Doe aims his weapon at Richard and Regina, intending to eliminate any obstacles in his path. Just as he prepares to pull the trigger, Richie appears, swooping in to intervene at the 11th hour. Van Doe redirects his fury, attempting to strike down the young heir. However, fate plays a hand in Richie's favor. A fabric bulletproof spray, created by the ingenious Professor Keenbean, renders Van Doe's bullets ineffective. Barely phased, Richie manages to escape with his family, setting off a nail-biting chase down the treacherous mountainside. As the Rich family flees, their pursuit takes a dangerous turn. Ferguson, accompanied by a rock-blasting laser originally used to sculpt the mountain and vault, continues his relentless assault. However, the resourceful Cadbury seizes the opportunity and disarms Ferguson, ensuring the family's safety. Meanwhile, Van Doe's misfortune reaches its pinnacle as he finds himself dangling perilously upside down, clinging to dear life. Cadbury, utilizing the laser's power, obliterates the rock face near Van Doe, leaving him at the mercy of gravity's whims. In a surprising turn of events, Richard, known for his benevolence towards his employees, grants Richie the privilege of dismissing Van Doe. This newfound authority is swiftly exercised, followed by an unexpected punch from Regina, symbolizing their triumph over the villainous plot that had threatened their family's harmony and fortune. Time passes, and Richie revels in the joy of camaraderie, playing a spirited game of baseball with his newfound friends. The sprawling yard of Rich Manor becomes their playground, with Cadbury assuming the role of team coach and Keenbean officiating as umpire. With a powerful swing of the bat, Richie smashes a home run, sending the ball soaring. It lands in the hands of none other than Van Doe, engaged in menial gardening duties with Ferguson as part of their work release. In a fit of resentment, Van Doe callously hurls the ball into the nearby fountain, hoping to extinguish Richie's jubilant spirit. Yet despite the malicious act, Richard and Regina acknowledge that their son has achieved something far more significant. Richie has discovered the true meaning of wealth, one that transcends monetary value. Through his genuine connections and cherished friendships, he has become the richest boy in the world. Money, it seems, cannot buy such precious bonds. And that is where we draw the curtain for today. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, and hit that subscribe button for more. Thanks for watching, and see you at the